Hey guys, it's Jean-Claude. Today we have our last deck of our first Worlds Collide box. Let's see what we get today. And as we're opening this, I am trying my best to try and go to the Vault Tour in Albany that is taking place next month. But I don't know, it's probably only like a 10% chance I'll get to go. But I am seeing what I can do. Just in case maybe some of you guys are out in that area, we can meet up, maybe play a game or so at the Vault Tour. Alright, we have a Gray Archon, and the first house is Saurion. Second house is Dis. And our last house is, oh no, it's Brobnar again. Come on, we need a good Brobnar deck. Commander Ink Eyes Founder. And for having all this crazy stuff, it's almost kind of like a basic Archon. Nothing really big kind of stands out to me about this one. I do kind of like that maybe there's like a face right here on the belly section. Actually, maybe we're looking at this wrong. What if this is the face, and then all of this is just some extra crazy stuff? I mean, Archons aren't necessarily built the same way that humans are, so that could be its actual face. Alright, now I'm starting to like it, and let's see what we got inside. Has anyone else noticed that I feel like we're not really seeing what the next Vault Tours are? I'm pretty sure the next one in Albany is the last one I know about here in the United States. So if anyone does have that info, be sure to leave it down in the comments, because I would like to know when the next one I can go to is, in case I can't make it to Albany. We're starting off with Saurion. It's good of the many. Destroy each creature that does not share a trait with another creature in its battle line. Okay, so my first thought is this is good against decks that don't have that many creatures, because maybe it's a possibility they might have two houses with like one or two creatures, possibly not sharing traits. But it seems like inside Worlds Collide, there seems to be more creature-heavy decks, and I'm not sure how good this is against other Worlds Collide decks. Gargantodon is 16 power, enters play stunned, only deals 4 damage when fighting. Each amber that would be stolen is captured by a creature controlled by the active player instead. That's a great card. Draco Praco, 4 power, reap. You may exalt it. If you do, choose a house. Enrage each creature of that house. Centurion Stenopius, 3 power, 2 armor. Gets plus 3 power for each amber on it. PFR, you may exalt it. Senator Shrix. Ooh, this is a really nice card. 4 power, 1 armor. You may spend amber on it as if it were in your pool. Play reap. You may exalt it. Redder Gallum is 3 power. Whenever you play it, your opponent's keys cost plus 3 amber. Whenever you reap, you can exalt it and do the same effect. Quester Jarda is 3 power elusive. Reap, you may exalt it. If you do, you gain an amber. So you get 2 amber off this, with your opponent maybe getting a future amber. Phalanx Strike is 1 amber whenever you play it. Choose a creature. Deal 1 damage for each friendly creature. You may exalt a friendly creature to repeat the preceding effect. This card is so much better than Cooperative Hunting. I love that you get the amber. Remember, this is an optional effect, and a lot of times, it's not really a negative doing that exalt. Because, heck, I mean, even something like Senator Shrix makes it where that is not a negative, or Stenopius, because it gets the additional power. Exalting your dinosaurs isn't necessarily a downside. Legatus Raptor, 4 power, 1 armor. Fight. You may exalt it. If you do, ready and use another friendly creature. Another one of those. Very nice. Imperium is 1 amber when you play it. Ward 2 friendly creatures. Chant of Hubris, 1 amber when you play it. Move 1 amber from a creature to another creature. And now we're... and now we're on to Dis. Is Ortanu like the most common rare there is? I feel like we've opened so many Ortanus in Worlds Collide, and we only opened 1 in all of AOA? Maybe 2. Ortanu's Binding, 1 amber whenever you play it. Deal 2 damage to a friendly creature. A second one of those, of course. You'll always get at least 2. Okay, now we're on to Ortanu the Chained, 7 power, reap. Return each copy of Ortanu's Binding from your discard pile to your hand. For each one returned this way, deal 2 damage to a creature with a 2 damage splash. Very nice. 3 Fates. Ooh. After seeing Ortanu and the fact that we have some bigger Saurions. Oh, and, oh gosh, and we have Brobnar in here. I'm not sure how good this card is going to be. 1 amber whenever you play it, destroy the 3 most powerful creatures. Goodbye, Gargantodon. Soul Keeper is an upgrade. Amber whenever you play it. This creature gains destroyed. Destroy the most powerful enemy creature. Okay, that's not bad. Obsidian Forge, it's an artifact. Amber whenever you play it. Action, sacrifice any number of friendly creatures. Then you may forge a key at plus 6 current cost, reduced by 1 amber for each creature you sacrificed. If you do, you destroy Obsidian Forge. Hysteria, return each creature to its owner's hand. That's really good against Saurions. I don't know how great that is considering we have Saurions. This will be an extremely situational card in this deck. We have 2 of them. Oh, I would have loved to see this in a deck without Saurions. Eon the Fringes, 1 power, elusive. During your turn, after you discard a discard from your hand, you may purge a discard from a discard pile. If you do, you get to steal an amber. This card is busted. I can't believe this exists. Ooh, and Furnace. 4 power, play. Purge up to 2 cards from a discard pile. Your opponent loses amber equal to the total amber bonus of the purged cards. Dendrix is 5 power, fight. Your opponent discards a random card from their hand. Binding Irons, your opponent gains 3 chains. And now we're on to Brobnar, the big one. It's an artifact, amber whenever you play it. After a creature is played, put a fuse counter on the big one. If there are 10 or more fuse counters on the big one, destroy each creature and artifact. This is definitely a fun little card, and the way Worlds Collide decks play, this thing will go off actually pretty quickly. Old Boomy, what is this? 2 power, Reap. Reveal cards from the top of your deck to reveal a Brobnar card, or choose to stop. Deal 2 damage to Old Boomy if a Brobnar card is revealed this way. Archive each card revealed this way. Whoa, okay. That is an extremely powerful card. You're basically only going to be able to reap with this one time, unless you have some way to give it armor reward. Ooh, Imperium could be good for that. This card looks really good. Archiving a bunch of cards for a future turn is fantastic. Smith, 1 amber whenever you play it. Gain 2 amber if you control more creatures than your opponent. Blood Money, place 2 amber from the common supply on an enemy creature. Tremor, stun a creature and each of its neighbors. We're going to need some big Brobnar creatures if we're going to find a good Brobnar here. You are not going to cut it. Stiltkin. 2 power, Skirmish. After a giant creature is played adjacent to Stiltkin, ready and fight with Stiltkin. I like this effect. My only real gripe with this is a huge percentage of the time, we're talking over 95% of the time, I feel like you're going to play this next to a creature you've already had from a previous turn. Which means you're going to play this, hopefully then have a giant creature that you play next to it, and you're only going to get to do 2 damage on that turn. Maybe if there were some giants they had deployed, this thing could be really good. But Stiltkin, as it stands right now, with the current cards available, I'm not that big of a fan. Oh, there's 2 of them. Oh boy, Brobnar. What do you do to my decks? Shorty's good at least. 4 power, Assault 4, Reap, Enrage Shorty. Narp is 8 power, 1 armor. Narp's neighbors cannot reap. Once again, could we just not have had a troll? How hard is it to give us troll? A simple 8 power, great reap effect, big Brobnar creature. It's not that Narp is bad, it's just that we've had better Brobnar cards in the past, and I feel like Brobnar as a whole in this set has really taken a hit, and it's because of little things like this. Ooh, almost dropped that. Gengar Chieftain is 5 power. You may ready and fight with a neighboring creature. Calfine is 5 power. Before the fight, deal 2 damage to each neighbor of the creature Calfine fights. And the last card is Barn Raising. Play for the remainder of the turn. Your opponent loses amber each time a friendly creature fights, so that's at least okay with the Stiltkin, but doesn't make it good overall. To have a combo where you're just kind of hoping to have those, at least 3 cards in your hand, the Stiltkin, the Barn Raising, and a Giant, just to make them lose an additional amber. I don't know, that's not that great. Let's get all of our amber up, though. Yeah, I feel like Brobnar, once again, kind of messed up what this deck can do. E will get us some amber. 3 fates. With big creatures in every house, that is just kind of awful. You got the Narp, Gargantodon, Ortanu. Oh, just kind of rough. Alright, so amber count seemed a little bit lower. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one actually will save it. We'll get to that in a second. 9. It is more than I thought because we had the big ones here. So that's 12 total. 14. And as far as the fringes goes, I like to call that at least 2. So that's 16. Not too bad. So it's light on the amount of cards generating amber, but a decent amount of amber besides that. Let's get our amber control up here. Chances a little bit of amber control simply because if there's amber on our creatures, that means we got some sort of effect maybe from Exalt. And now moving it to our opponent generates another amber. You can almost say that this should have counted for 2 in the amber pile, so we might have to revisit that in the future. I know initially I was counting this as 2 in a deck that has a lot of Exalt, so we might be able to go back to that. But I think 1 is always safe, just in case you need to cycle it. Okay, Barn Raising. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Okay. Infernus plus Asterius, but once again, it's kind of a gamble. Can we actually play these if we already have a Sori on board? I don't think so. Redder is fine. And Gargantodon does hop out against some steel decks, but we will not count it. So, 1, 2, 3... basically only 3. Oh my. What are you trying to do to me, deck? Alright, let's go ahead and pull up the creatures, because that might be where this deck shines a little bit. Unfortunately, we do have some weaker creatures, though, like the Stiltkins. But let's see what we have overall. Man. Stiltkins. Now see, Old Boomy, that is a good low power creature. I'm okay with seeing this inside Brobnar. But Stiltkins just feel like almost a big waste in here. And probably just always. Anytime you have Stiltkins, I don't think they're going to be that overpowered in a deck. And I don't even know if they'll even be average in a deck. So let's count it up. We have 1, 5, 10, 15, 19. So not even real excessive on the creature count. What is inside of this deck? I guess we have what I would like to call a lot of filler in here. Whenever I talk about filler, that's like the weaker cards and cards that are sometimes situational. So weaker cards like Stiltkin, which obviously I've talked a bunch about. Barn Raising is questionable. Chant of Hubris is okay. It's just kind of filler though. The bindings, they're kind of weak. This is kind of the problem with Ortanu. Ortanu itself is really good. These cards with Ortanu is really good, but the cards on their own are not that great. 3 Fates in here is pretty weak. The big one is so situational, you don't know if it actually is good in your deck. Tremor's fine. Binding Irons is good. The 2 Hysterias, normally these are a great card. Normally I want to see these in a lot of my decks. But in this one, I don't know how I feel about the Hysterias, and having 2 of those does make them a little bit goofy. Dropped Good of the Many. Oh man. I've only dropped 2 cards in one other deck ever. And then Good of the Many, I really don't think this is going to be that great of a card. It is a rare, which is a little bit of a shame. When it comes to rares, I would like to see more of a unique fun effect that could combo with some of the cards maybe in that house or other houses. That'd be a lot more fun than something like Good of the Many. Alright guys, oh man, there isn't too much to say about this deck. We'll talk a little bit about what it can do well, even though it does have, as I said, a lot of filler cards. I think the dinos in here are pretty good. They're not the best lineup of dinos, but I think overall that's the strong house of this deck. I think that disses are decent support. And even though Brobnar does have some decent cards in it, I don't know how much I want to call Brobnar in here. But yeah, thanks to something like Senator Strix, having our Amber Control inside here as well, hurting our opponent's stealing, the Legatus Raptor might be the best way we actually use some of those Brobnar creatures, or disc creatures. Yeah, the best house in this deck is for sure Saurians. And also, where's the Senator? There we go. Being able to Imperium this with some Amber on it is nice. Sadly, though, it's not that reliable because this deck somehow didn't have any taunts in it. Senator Strix is really good when you have taunts. It's a huge gamble to put a whole pile of Amber on this guy without a real good way to protect it. Alright, guys. Well, man. I knew I said I was going to start rating starting probably next week. I think we can talk a little bit about this one. It has a lot of good things going for it. The problem is, I think there's going to be a lot of turns where this deck is kind of suffering as it's trying to get through to its better cards. It doesn't really have a great game plan because I think it's going to struggle against other Worlds Collide decks. It might do fine against some of the older decks just because of how powerful some of these creatures are compared to the old sets. I hate that I'm going to have to give my first ever rating of Worlds Collide to a deck that isn't that great, but this definitely feels like it's in the D category. I don't think it's a D+. This is probably just a solid D. Alright guys, well thank you very much for watching my videos as always, and I will see you next time.